Hello, everyone. Well, looks like we got a terrible show tonight on a 6 year anniversary, 2.5 hour special. Name my topic tonight is called horror in Hollywood. That's my topic tonight. It's called horror. Hold on a second. Horror in Hollywood. Okay. Commentary runs down the lineup for tonight's special episode before we cut to early today, where the Young Bucks are hanging around outside the venue. This leads to a vignette of the former EVPs trying to their luck at the casino in their hopes of doubling the money they have. But as Matt talks to Nick about the big entrance they're gonna have tonight, he finds out all the money is gone. We fade to ringside for our opening match, with the graphic calling the Broke Bucks as Josh Alexander makes his entrance next. Brody will make their way out to a nice pop, which only gets louder for the arrival of Kenny Omega, who seemingly gets all the entrance pyro the Bucks pyro the Bucks wanted. Rival Kenny Omega before the trio head down the ring to the ring. Trios match: Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks versus the AEW World Tag Team Champions Brody and Kenny Omega. We start off with Omega and Alexander as they lock up. Omega sends Josh to the ropes, but is taken down by the walking weapon. They go back at it until Kenny gets sent away as Matt makes the tag to go after his former friend. Kenny takes him to the mat before making a tag to Brody, who does some more damage on the butt before tagging in Bandito. In comes for an assist, but the Ring of Honor World Champion dodges their super kicks, starting to do the Macarena before the Bucks go after him. They mock him with the dance before Kenny comes in for an assist, and the pair dance together after sending the Bucks down. Chaos ensues until the Bucks and Alexander are sent to the outside, where Omega and Bandito land a couple of dives. Bandito sends the trio back by one in the ring, just as Brody starts landing the scoop slam after scoop slam before Omega assists on being slammed onto them himself. This is followed by Bandito coming in and showing off his power by slamming Brody onto their opponents as well. It's clear Josh has suffered the brunt of damage here, as the Bucks are back up taking out Brody before Omega comes in to kick Matt and Nick down hard. They leave the ring and Kenny sets up for a dive, only to be intercepted by Alexander. Kenny catches Josh and sending him out of the ring, and the Bucks intercept Omega with a double kick on the apron. This allows Alexander to take the best bout machine out of the floor, and the trio take advantage as we go to a full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, the Bucks continue to keep on top of Kenny Omega until he fights back, sending both men to the corner. Omega crawls to the corner, making the tag to King before Alexander can intervene. And Josh gets laid out with a lariat for a near fall, but the Bucks intervene but take a heavy set of strikes from the big man for dodging him to the corner into the corner. They send King to the ropes as Bandito gets a blind tag, but Brody takes them out before Bandito gets some offense of his own. The Bucks send Brody to the outside before Kenny takes them out hitting a dive of his own before pursuing Don Callis, who makes a beeline through the crowd to avoid his former charge. Back in the ring, Bandito goes for a 21 plex, but Nick lands on his feet. Chaos ensues once more, leading to a triple tombstone power driver that gets only a 2 count on the legal man. Kenny has made it his mind set on a V trigger, but Alexander evades it for a German suplex twice over. More time for good measure, as then he suplexes an incoming Bandito. Brody blocks an attempt on himself, but a double super kick by the Bucks sends the big man on the ride as well. By the way, no music tonight. Um um just open the show and right here, no opening music, no ending music tonight. By the way, okay, let me finish up. A triple team on Omega leads a 2 count by Alexander, who goes for an ankle lock before Bandito hits him with a super kick. Only to take one by the Bucks. They get sent out by Omega, who lays in to an Alexander, leading a V trigger. Omega hits another one on Alexander, who takes a 21 from Bandito, as Brody hits a top dive on the Bucks to keep them away from the ring. Omega lands a one-winged angel on the walking weapon and picks up the win in the process. Winners via pinfall, AEW World Tag Team Champions Rodeo and Kenny Omega. We see the Bucks getting in the ring after the match, and any chance of an elite reunion is cut off by Josh Alexander laying in to the best bout machine. The Bucks are notably not getting in on the attack, as Tarzan Boy hits to bring out Jurassic Express. Jack Perry and Luchasaurus make their way to the ring, going after the Young Bucks before Kenny starts to argue with Perry over their past history. Perry pushes him aside to go back after the Young Bucks, and the Perry are chased back by the Jurassic Express. As Kenny Omega grabs a microphone to express his gratitude for the fans for their 6 years of AEW. Thank you so much for what you came before and for joining us on this journey. Unfortunately, we are still alive, so I bid you adieu. Good night, mwah. And goodbye with a goodbye bang. The lights go out, and when they come back on in a mask, it is in the ring, revealing himself to be Andrade El Idolo. Wow. So he's no longer with WWE. Yeah, he takes out Kenny as Don Callis enters the ring to shake his hand. They stand over the fallen Omega and leaving us wondered if the Don Callis family just grew once again. Kenny runs Callis out of the ring, but takes a kick to the head by Andre before the pair head up to the ramp. Via package, a look back at 6 wild years of AEW Dynamite. Commentary thanks us fans for 6 years before hyping up the TNT Championship match up next, as Kyle Fletcher defends against Orange Cassidy. Commercial break. Backstage, we hear from Mark Briscoe, who addresses being consumed with the thought of MJF. He talks about beating MJF at All Out and sending him on a sabbatical before turning his attention to the fact that he is a friend of Hologram, have their chances at winning gold. He hypes up Orange Cassidy's getting a shot tonight, saying he can be happy for his friends and how he'll be celebrating with Cassidy when he wins the title, and MJF will be sitting home licking his wounds and recovering. Happy anniversary. We head back to ringside for our next match as Orange Cassidy makes his way out to challenge for the AEW TNT Championship. Kyle Fletcher makes his entrance next, accompanied by Don Callis as he heads to the ring to this match underway. TNT Championship match. Kyle Fletcher defends against Orange Cassidy. We start things off slow as the crowd chants for Cassidy, who dodges an attack from the champ for locking a side headlock. He takes Fletcher down for a near fall before changing things up. But Fletcher blocks a sunset flip to bring Orange. Cassidy does a brainbuster twice, but the challenger struggles on a black slide attempt. Another near fall attempt leads to Cassidy hitting the ropes, only to stop himself when Fletcher looks for a leapfrog. He leaves the ring for a breather before coming back in, but the champ follows him close to it for a big boot, sending Cassidy back out of the ring. The challenger starts to fight back before heading to the top rope, only to take an enziguri of sorts that forces Orange to drop to the floor as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, Fletcher is still in control as he kicks away at the challenger in the ring. Cassidy tries to get to his feet before taking a boot to the face. He starts to get back up, but he can't get his hands on his pockets before the champ lays him out again. This time placing Orange's hands in his pockets before hitting some stomps. Fletcher looks for a lawn dart throw, but gets hit head first to the turnbuckle instead. Cassidy keeps up and hits the dangerous kicks on the champ, which do incentivize before Fletcher fights back. Cassidy catches him into the corner before sending his head into the turnbuckle once more, followed by DDT, sending the champ down hard to the canvas. Cassidy goes up top but gets caught in the midair, leading a Nushiku driver by Fletcher for a close two count for a challenger, and kicks out. Fletcher goes back to work on Cassidy, but it gets turned around into another DDT by a challenger for a near fall. Orange punch gets avoided by Fletcher and goes at it before Cassidy rolls Fletcher up for a 2, only to be hoisted up for a tombstone power driver by the champ. Kyle makes the cover but only gets a 2 count himself. Fletcher catches the challenger running with a running kick in the corner, but a brainbuster gets counted out into a small package by Cassidy for a 2. Cassidy takes up the fight back, but the champ before heading to the corner, but Kyle intercepts him on a turnbuckle. They fight out until Fletcher gets sent to the mat, and the ref checks on Fletcher as Cassidy goes up top. Kyle tries to get involved, but is cut off by a rival of Hologram, who trips up Cassidy on the top rope. On the top rope, this gives Fletcher the opening to the brainbuster in the corner on the challenger for the win to retain. Winner via pinfall still AEW TNT champion Kyle Fletcher. Hologram joins in on the attack on Cassidy post match before some of the locker room comes out for the save. Fletcher is in what is soon revealed to be Hologram clone are joined by the rest of Don Callis' family on the stage as Clonogram's lights kick in. Commentary looks back at what happened earlier tonight with Andrade Iolo's return, and we head backstage to hear from Mercedes Moné, who will soon be the longest reigning AEW TBS champion in company history. Moya looks forward to defending the title next week on Title Tuesday. before conversation turns to the new AEW Women's Tag Team Championship. Mercedes wonders who will be her tag team partner, and this brings out Minnie Monet, who through the CEO, who turns down Harley Cameron, refusing to someone who loses much as she does in tag team competition. She walks off as the puppet insists that Monet is just playing hard to get, to which Renee and Harley agree as we cut away. As a commercial break. Back from the break, the ops of Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs make their way out, followed by the arrival of Hangman and Page, who gets a big pop as the trio makes their way out of the ring and gets this match underway. Trios match: Death Riders, Jon Moxley, Daniel Garcia, and Claudio Castagnoli versus AW World Champion Hangman and Page, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe. We start off with Claudio and Joe, with the latter taking Claudio to the corner for some hard strikes. He brings Castagnoli to the opposite corner, nearly choking out Claudio as he shouts out at him. And then goes after Mox and Garcia on the apron. This gives Claudio an opening to fight back, only to be dropped to the mat by Joe. Claudio manages to fight back to bring Joe to his corner now, tagging in Mox, who lays into Joe before tagging in Garcia, who keeps Joe on the ropes as Claudio tags in, continue the rotation with a tag to Mox to continue the attack until Joe fights back for a tag to Page. The AW World Tag Champion comes in as Garcia tags in. Only for Page to send him to the outside for a dive. Crowd chanting for the Hangman as he brings Garcia back in the ring, leading to the tag to Hobbs. Garcia slaps him on the back only, and this only riles the Powerhouse up as he takes Garcia to the mat with a shoulder tackle. He gets caught by Moxley on the apron when he hits the ropes, but this just leads to Powerhouse slamming Mox on the apron for his troubles to go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from break, Hobbs gets sent to the corner by Claudio as we go to get a look at the powerbomb that has turned things around for the Death Riders. Claudio stays on the attack before Hobbs starts fighting back. He takes a few uppercuts before heading toward the corner, but Castagnoli deadlifts him to the mat for a 2 count. He still has a grip on the Powerhouse as Hobbs slowly makes his way to the corner, with Claudio knocking Page on the apron before Hobbs hits a power slam. Joe looks for a tag, but it's Page who takes it instead, seeking revenge as he goes off on the Riders. Garcia with the tag, he takes a Death Valley driver that gets the AW World Champion for a 2 count. Garcia starts to fight back in the order to tag in Mox, as the main event of All In Texas reunites the in-ring as Mox and Page go at it. This ends with Claudio running in for an assist, clearing the tag partners away as Max hits a power driver, but Claudio is kept away as Page manages to get a near fall on Mox in the process. Chaos ensues between all 6 men before Joe takes a paragraph shifts to Mox before it's narrowly evades a buckshot lariat by Page. Carlos lays out the champ for a 2 count before Jackknife covers leads Page for hitting a dead eye. He follows up with a buckshot lariat on crossing over, and the Hangman takes the win. Winners via pinfall: AEW World Champion Hangman and Page, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe. The celebration is cut short as Samoa Joe heads it out with Page over the communications during the match. Security comes out to keep the peace, but Joe nearly blows up on a world champion before he and Hobbs take their leave. Video package: Will Nightingale and Jet Speed address FTR's actions, and Big Soap responds by issuing a challenge for Collision. Top guys out. Commercial break. Backstage, we hear from Hangman and Page. He addresses what we saw. He says this is all about the fact that Joe was upset about never losing the title to Page for offering Joe a title shot at the AEW World title at Wrestle Dream. Back at ringside, Thomas, Tony Storm makes her way out for our next match. This is followed by Tate Mello as we get an inset promo from Mello and Jay about the women's tag team championship before this match gets underway. Thomas, Tony Storm versus Tate Mello. Hold on a second. Mello starts to get the upper hand on the former women's world champion. To start, but Storm takes her to the mat for a near fall. Mello is in the corner as Storm goes charging toward her for Tay to trap her in a cross arm breaker on the ropes. This gives her an opening to continue the damage on Storm as we go to an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from the break, Storm is in control again, but Mello takes her to the corner for a high boot to the jaw. She does it a second time for good measure, but a third leads to Storm sending her to face first to the canvas. Both women are down as the ref begins a count. They fight back to their feet, heading back and forth. Mello takes Storm to the ropes, but is met with a DDT to the mat by Storm. She heads to the corner, but Mello dodges an hip attack for a punt to the heart and for some stumps on the former champ. TKO gets blocked as Storm hits a German suplex, sending Mello to the corner for a hip attack as the Storm Zero pick up the win. Winner by pinfall, Thomas, Tony Storm. Storm gets a microphone after the match addressing what happened at All Out. She didn't get to hear the victory or defeat. She heard silence. She addresses Statlander winning the title and questions following Storm into the dark, including the biggest one. Who the bloody hell are you? This leads to Storm telling Statlander she isn't finished with her. She wants to answer the question one-on-one. Chris can name the time and the place, and Tony will be. We don't get an answer to that as she drops the microphone. Video package: we hear from Sammy Guevara as Eddie Kingston ahead of Collision as Kingston will face LFI's Jalisco. Up next, we'll see GOA take the Swirl tag team action. In commercial break. Backstage, we hear from Samoa Joe, who talks about Page, that the misunderstanding that led to his issues with Page. He talks about being so distracted with the Death Riders that he nearly forgot who he is. So he is Samoa Joe, the the man Page never beat for the AW World Championship. He runs to the champ down before some more before walking off to the title match. Title match is made official for Wrestle Dream. GOA make their way out for their for for our where for our next match with a swirl already in the ring as this match gets underway. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay, GOA versus Swirl. Keon and Leon attack Lee Johnson, with Leon officially starting things off with the attack on Johnson for sending him to the corner for a tag to Bishop. Double team leads to a big chop by Khan, with Leon sending Jace Johnson to the mat with a chop to block to chop to the back. Blake Christian with a tag and gets the upper hand and Khan off a distraction. He hits the ropes for some more damage, but gets caught and slammed to the mat as we go to a full ad break. Full ad break on HBO match. Back from break, Khan is in control as he continues the damage, but on Blake Christian. He brings Christian to the corner for some more, but Blake gets an opening and to send Khan into the corner before making a tag to Johnson. Lee takes the fight to Khan, sending him out of the ring before Leon intervenes. Jason Johnson fends him off before landing a dive on Bishop and on the outside. He brings Khan to the back but gets caught by Teola. He ends up being sent into the ring post before Christian lands a dive to take him out. Khan intercepts Lee by coming back in the ring as Teola leads out Blake and GOA double team Johnson, leading to a choke slam for a win. Wins via GOA. Ricochet brings Christian back into the ring looking for revenge and hits a spirit gun. But on the beatdown is interrupted by the arrival of the Hurt Syndicate. MVP has a microphone with some questions to remind Ricochet that he's in MVP's neighborhood. MVP admits that at all out he embarrassed himself. He owes the fans and the Hurt Syndicate an apology, and he allowed Ricochet as his backup dancer to beat him. Bobby and Shelton didn't lose the match. He did. That led to him wondering if he lost his sleep. But the thing is, he didn't want to wrestle. He wants to fight. We cut backstage where Chris Stanley accepts the challenge by Tony Storm and offers the time and a place where to be wrestled during. With that, we head elsewhere where Don Callis addresses the additions of Andrade and El Cleon to the family. He then issues a challenge to Brodie for the AEW World Tag Team Championship against a team of Kanazuki Takeshita and Kazuki Okada. This leads to some tension between the pair. For Callis cuts off to tell the champs they're in a lot of trouble next week on Title Tuesday. On with a little commercial break. Okay, I'm back. Commercial break. We head backstage ringside for our main event as Darby Allin and Chris Statlander make their entrance first. This is followed by the arrival of Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir, only for Darby and Chris to go after them to get this match underway. Mixed Tag Team Tornado match: Darby Allin and AEW Women's Champion Chris Statlander versus Wheeler Yuta and Marina Shafir of the Death Riders. 4 competitors fight it out through the crowd, with Darby keeping Yuta and Marina for a crossbody by the Statlander. They fight eventually and makes its way to the ringside area, with Yuta turning things around on Darby as Marina and Statlander trade strikes. Shafir sends Chris to the announce table. Marina lands on a chop on the champ, sending her to the floor as the Death Riders are firmly in control, going into an ad break. Full ad break on HBO Max. Back from break as this match gets underway into the ring as we see Statlander fighting back to the Riders. She takes Yuta, but gets hung up to the ropes by Shafir, who doesn't quite hit a tiger feint kick, but transitions into a head scissors of sorts. I'll take Statlander out of the ring. Darby goes after Yuta as Chris and Marina fight on the outside, taking that fight to the barricade where Chris hits a suplex on Shafir, driving both women through the timekeeper's table. Back at ringside, Darby sets up a stack of chairs before catching Yuta on the turnbuckle for a suplex on a pile. Somehow Yuta manages to kick out at 2 on the cover. The 2 go back at it in the corner, this time with Yuta control, taking a neckbreaker from the top to the apron that lands Allin on the hardest part of the ring. Yuta grabs a bag and gets back in the ring, venting a pile of thumbtacks before Statlander slides into the ring to go after Wheeler. Yuta fights back, drop Statlander onto the mat. Considering following up to that with that suplex onto the text before Chris turns it around to send Yuta onto the pile of chairs. Maria comes in to intervene with, to take an atomic drop onto the text with her bare feet. Shafir struggles as Wheeler goes after Chris with some powder, but it lands on the eyes of Shafir, who starts choking out on Yuta by mistake. Instead, this ends when Statlander climbs to the turnbuckle for a 450 splash, followed by a coffin drop from Darby to pick up the win. The celebration is cut short when Tony Storm appears on the ramp, leading the confrontation between the Storm and Statlander. Back in the ring, Peck attacks Darby to give the Death Riders an edge. He grabs the belt, wrapping it around to throw to Darby and Mox, as Mox grabs a microphone to tell Darby that the first time in his life he'll say the words, "I quit." With that, the Death Riders take their leave from the ring as commentary runs down next week's lineup to bring the 6-year anniversary edition of Dynamite to a close. Well, this is terrible. Real terrible show tonight. Real lackluster show tonight. That's why it's called horror in Hollywood. Yeah, horror in Hollywood. Horror in Hollywood, yeah. That's why it's Halloween. It's October. It's almost just about time for Halloween. And it's almost just about time for Halloween. And almost just about time for Halloween. So real monster night. Terrible show. Now I got that covered. Now it's time for something light to do. It's time for hold on one second again. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I'm back and I don't know if you know what it's time for. It's time for second. It's time for Justin's Time History, all wrestling birthdays, pop culture, history, and all that stuff. All you hear that theme from Back to the Future starring Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Celebrate its 40th anniversary on July 3rd, 2025. The movie released July 3rd, 1985. So let's go to yesterday's September 30th. Okay, September 30th, 1995, we lost the wrestler named someone named Treach Phillips. His real name is Henry W. Phillips Jr. He was born in Memphis, Tennessee. He was born on August 19th, 1929. He died on September 30th, 1995. In pop culture, see, see, um, on this day in 1955, we lost celebrity actor named James Dean. James Dean died of a car accident. Yeah, James Dean. Yeah, he died on this day in 1955. James Dean. He was 24 when he died. He was born. He was born February 8th, 1931. Yeah, Rebel Without Cause was his last movie. Okay, wrestler died on this day, 1995, September 30th. Her name was Black Venus. Her real name is Jane Kirkland. Okay, birthdays today. Today's a happy 47th birthday to WWE wrestler Candice Michelle. Joe Henning, Curtis, Curtis, son of the late Mr. Perfect Kurt Henning, the father and the and son of late X Larry X Henning. Yeah, he turns 46 today. Adam Pac-Man Jones, he turns 42 today. Colin Troy, he turns 36 today. And Chris Von Erich, one of the Von Erich family, he would have been 56 today. He died of suicide on September 12th, 1991. Swerve Strickland, he turns 35 today. see what else. See what else. Okay, on WCW Pro, Sabu defeats New Harry New Baker. Kamala and the Zodiac with Kevin Sullivan defeat Scott D'Amore and Terry Morgan. Alex Wright beats Joey Maggs. Carasso with Colonel Tom Parker. Colonel Robert Parker defeats the Italian Stallion via submission. Ming defeats Jerry Heller via submission with a nerve hold. See, see on WC what else? Disco Inferno defeat Disco on WCW Worldwide September 30th, 1995. Same day, Disco Inferno defeats Barry Houston. Kurosawa, Colonel Robert Parker Scott Scott Armstrong via submission. Alex Wright defeats Grappler after Super Duper Plex. Non-title match Sting beats Arn Anderson via DQ and Brian Pillman interferes at 6-19. See what else? Okay, hold on one sec. See what else. What else? Okay, Sting. Yeah, I mentioned. Yeah, WCW War. Sting, U.S. champion, defeats Arn Anderson via DQ, and Brian Pillman interferes. Okay, on WWF Superstars on September 30th, 1995. Same day, Saturday, Hakushi and Barry Horowitz defeats Skip and Rad Radford. Razor Ramon defeats Al Brown. Bob Holly defeated Ace of Constance, we know it was D'Lo Brown. The Blues Brothers defeat Sonny Rogers and Bill Gorgon. Davey Boy Smith defeated Fatu, British Bulldog. And let's see, on WCW Saturday night. Okay, now this episode is listed 76 minutes. Because yeah, Johnny B. Bad for U.S. title. Yeah, Giant goes out. Sting, yes. Yeah, this is episode. Yeah, Arn Anderson defeats pins Mark Starr. Sting beats Barry Houston in a non-title match. American males defeat the Burial Brothers. Sergeant Craig Pittman defeats Cobra after powerbomb. Bubba Bob Rogers beats Hexer Jim Duggan after hitting with a tape fist. And non-title match, TV champion Diamond Doll Max Muscle pins Eric Jackie at the end. And TV Diamond Dallas Page with the Diamond Muscle pins Eddie Jackie every Diamond Cutter, and Ric Flair beats Eddie Lancaster via submission, and Sting beats Brian Pillman after a power slam. Then Johnny B Bad interviews. Yeah, the Johnny interview with Johnny B. Bad, and then until Diamond Dallas Page come out and interrupt. And this is what happened.
This portion of WCW Saturday Night is brought to you by McDonald's. Have you had your break today?
Ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe who just walked through the door. Johnny B. Bad, come on in. Here was the man that earlier tonight missed his opportunity to meet Sting for the United States title.
This was the worst
what
day
happened?
of my entire life. Gene, I had car trouble. I had a flat tire on the biggest day of my professional career. I have a flat tire.
Wait a minute, if you had a flat tire, you could have at least given us a telephone
Gee,
call, Johnny.
Don't you think if I had a phone, I would have called somebody?
Hey,
What are you are so stupid. How could you be so stupid to miss your shot at the WCW U.S. Championship belt? I mean, I should have got the shot anyway. I'm a world champion. I'm a television world champion. It should have been mine.
Wait a minute, Paige. Here's the man that earned the right to meet Sting for the U.S. title. He beat Brian Pillman at Fall Brawl. Johnny, that's his misfortune.
Do you think I would have missed this match and have an opportunity to prove to Sting who could be the next U.S. champion? Zeros don't become champions. Guys like Diamond Dallas Page become champions.
Now, Max Muscle, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah, it is pretty tough getting here with 4 flat tires, ain't it, Dallas?
Wait a minute. Wait, how did you know it was 4 flat tires? I said a flat tire!
Oh, no! What a punch! What a punch!
Yep, that's how WCW Saturday Night ended on that day, September 30th, 1995, with Mark Merrow laying out a punch to Diamond Dallas Page as WCW show ended. And pop culture. Movies released in theaters. Capote, starring the late Philip Seymour Hoffman. The Greatest Game Ever Played, starring Shia LaBeouf. A History of Violence, starring Viggo Mortensen, Maria Bello, and Ed Harris, and William Hurt. Into the Blue, starring the late Paul Walker. Also starring Jessica Alba, Scott Conn, Ashley Scott, and Josh Brolin from Goonies. Little Manhattan, starring Josh Hutcherson, Charlie Ray, Bradley Whitford, and Cynthia Nixon. Oliver Twist, starring Ben Kingsley, Barney Clark, and Serenity, based on a popular TV show. Serenity, based on a popular TV show Firefly, starring Nathan Fillion, Adam Baldwin, Summer Glau, and David Krumholtz. A really good movie, Serenity. And on WCW, NXT, was it NXT standing? What was it? NXT. Impact Wrestling. Maria Shera defeated James Storm in a no DQ match. Trevor Lee defeated DJZ and Tommaso Ciampa in a freeway match. Dollhouse J, Marty Bell, and Rebel defeated Beautiful People, Madison Rain, and Velvet Sky with Angelina Love. In a three-way on a 3-on-2 3-on-2 handicap match, Drew Galloway and Matt Hardy defeat Ethan Carter III and Ethan Carter III and Tyrus. Then on the same night on NXT, yeah, this is 1 week left before NXT Takeover Respect. Finn Balor and Samoa Joe defeated Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy, with Carmelo and Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Tournament first round. Apollo Crews defeated Johnny Gargano, Dana Brooke, and Emma defeated Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. Tyler Breeze defeated Tommaso Ciampa. Now let's go to the next day. Today, October. See, hold on a second. Then on September 30th on ABC Monday Night Football, the Bengals defeat the Cincinnati Bengals defeated my friends hometown team, Pittsburgh Steelers, 37-24, Three Rivers Stadium. Then on this day, then on September 30, 1985, Michael Spinks and Larry Holmes were both featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated after their bout on September 21st. Spinks and 175 pounds bulked up to fight Holmes, moving up a weight class. Putman of Sportsman Illustrated wrote Spinks in a new orange nutrition. Mackie Shilzone, 34, former Tulane football player, who put him on. Well, I'm not gonna read former Tulane football player who put him on a 500 calorie diet sliced into 65% carbohydrates, 20% protein, and 15% fat. It was all mostly made up of vegetables and grains. The challenger also ran sprints instead of doing traditional nonstop road work, 800 with 800 800 with a minimum between 400 and 200 200s, 400s, 200s, and 100s. If you were training for the the line instead of 15 rounds with Holmes, Spinks defeated Holmes by unanimous decision in 15 rounds. Spinks, because in the first reigning world heavyweight champion to win world heavyweight championship. Holmes entered a fight with a 48 zip record, needing just one win to tie Rocky Marciano's all-time defeated heavyweight record of 49 to zip. After the fight, Holmes said, "I'm 35 fighting young man, and Rocky was 25 fighting old man. To be technical, Rocky couldn't carry my jackstrap." Holmes was heavily criticized for the remark, and he apologized. Spinks' victory over Holmes was named upset of the year by Ring magazine. Okay, Okay, hold on a second. Trying to see what else. Okay, see September, October 1st. Okay, October 1st. Okay, today is a happy birthday to Hector Guerrero, Eddie Guerrero's older brother. Turned 71 today. Rico turns the guy that gave me the gay hairdresser. He turned 64 today. Okay, on Action Zone, they just show highlights and everything. It just came a highlight show. No matches on the show, and everything. And see, they were just showing highlights of what went down, everything. Monday Night Raw, the superstars. And everything else. Preview upcoming Raw. And on WCW main event, Eddie Guerrero, the late Eddie Guerrero, defeated Jushin Thunder Liger. Wait, hold on, wait. We got something else on WWF Friday Night. WWF Friday Night SmackDown. Hold on a second, y'all. How about that? September 30th, 2005. John Bradshaw Layfield, King Kane defeated Hardcore Holly. And Rey Mysterio, Melina, with Mercury and Nitro defeated. Eminem would defeat Christy Hemme. Then they continued to beat up Christy Hemme until Heidenreich and what's his name, Heidenreich and Road Warrior Animal Heidenreich make the save. The Undertaker defeated Barbara Jr. Bobby Lashley defeated Russell Thompson. Orlando Jordan defeated Booker T and Christian in triple threat match. Legion of Doom, Heidenreich and Road Warrior Animal defeated Batista and Eddie Guerrero by DQ to retain the WWE Tag Team Championship. See what else. See what else. Trying to see what else. Okay, October 1st, 2005. Velocity moved to moved to WWE Network. Nunzio and Vito defeated Brian Kendrick and Paul London. Simon Dean defeated Robbie Dauber. Chris Benoit defeated William Regal to retain the U.S. title. Let's see what else. Let's see what else. See what else. And Spike TV airs the premiere of it moves to Saturday nights. Impact Wrestling moves to Saturday nights. October 1st, 2005. Yeah, Saturday Slam Saturday Night, Spike TV, form now called Paramount Network. AJ Styles defeated Roderick Strong. Monty Brown defeated Lake Slovett. Chris Sabin defeated Alex Shelley and Pete Williams in a three-way match. And Jeff Hardy versus Rhino in a no contest singles match. And Kevin Nash makes his return to TNA, and the Dudley Boys make their debut to Impact Wrestling. Yeah, and by what this is the America's Most Wanted turned heel on Raven, in line with Jeff Jarrett. September 15th, 2005. That was after their heel turn. Yeah, on this day in 2015, on 2005 on Ring of Honor. Yeah, Kobayashi Samoa Joe versus yeah, this is event is called Joe versus Kobayashi. Took place at the New Yorker Hotel in New York City, New York. Claudio Castagnoli defeated Colt Cabana. Christopher Daniels defeated Ariel, and Matt Sydal in three-way dance. Matt Sydal eliminated Ariel. Christopher Daniels eliminated Matt Sydal. Sal Renaro and Tommy Momalu defeated BJ Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs to win the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship. Siegel McGinnis defeated Jay Lethal to retain the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Roger Strong defeated Jimmy Rave and with Jay Chung and Prince Nana in a grudge match. Ricky Reyes with Julia Smokes defeated Perel Primo. James Gibson defeated Jimmy Wayne. Jack Cravens defeated Homicide with Julia Smokes. Kenta Kobayashi defeated Samoa Joe with Jay Lethal. And 2015 on SmackDown, Friday Night SmackDown on SmackDown, Thursdays. Team Bad, Naomi and Sasha Banks and Tamina defeated Team Bella. And by submission, Ryback defeated Kevin Owens by countout in the Intercontinental Championship match. Lucha Dragons and Neville defeated Stardust and the Ascension. Kane and the Dudley Boys defeated Seth Rollins in a New Day. Let's see what else. And on Superstars, Cesaro defeated Heath Slater, the Lucha Dragons, Kalisto, and Sin Cara defeated the Ascension, Connor and Victor. And that's it. That'll do it for my review. Everything else, got everything covered. And the Godfather Soul, Joseph Slam was a late Chad Henshaw, say like dressed up Cheddar Tricker, sing like Leonard, she danced like James Brown. Like again, that hot tub, gonna be sweat, gonna be dry, gonna be wet. Referring to Eddie Murphy doing the impression of James Brown on Saturday Night Live. So I hope all of you good night. I never grew up in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, but I watched old school Saturday Night Live when I was little on Comedy Central. So I hope all of you good night. I'm out of here. Peace.